Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 2 of our new version of the Lifting Ugly podcast with myself and over here to my right, if you're watching, is none
Julia
other than-
Byrne.
There we go, Julia. We got as the new co-host of the Lifting Ugly podcast. We do have a guest that is coming in today that we will be with hopefully here in the next 5-10 minutes. We want to thank everyone for joining us, whether you are watching on the YouTube, on the Facebook, or if you are listening on any of the other streaming platforms, that I will make sure that I do my due diligence and get those up and going. So if you like, or even if you don't like, but you want to support the two of us, make sure you like each episode. Make sure you subscribe to the streaming platforms. And actually, you can just go to all the streaming platforms. Go to YouTube and subscribe. Go to, I don't know if but just like the Facebook page, the Instagram page. Go to Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and subscribe to Lifting Ugly there. That helps us all out. It makes us just more out there in the public. So that more people can enjoy what we're putting down for y'all.
Some quality content.
Quality content is what we're bringing you. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get this started. Last time I forgot to do the little intro music, so we're going to do that one time real quick to get us going. We'll be back. All right, short intro, and we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Again, this is the Lifting Ugly podcast. I am coming to you from Industry Strength Gym in Grand Junction, Colorado. Julia is coming to you again from Parts Unknown. We have our sweet background here, basically because behind me is a bathroom, and that's not pleasant for anyone to see. Not that I'm not in the bathroom, so it's not like. Don't think that I'm podcasting from a bathroom. I'm not podcasting from the bathroom. The door is just right behind me.
Are you sure?
Yes. I am getting up there in age, but I'm not that old yet. So my background, as you can kind of see what's available here, we have up top that you can't see, it would say Pioneer Powerlifting presents the USPF Bar Wars.
Bar
May the
Wars!
4th. In Grand Junction, Colorado. That's the background I'm using to try and spread the hype for Bar Wars that will be taking place. Let's see, we do have, let's bring this up real quick. We're doing an overlay here. So here's our flyer and what we have so far for Bar Wars on May the 4th, which, as if you watched or listened to last week, or 2 weeks ago, technically when this came out, is Star Wars Day, if you were unaware. That's why it's Bar Wars, hence the name. We have Pioneer Powerlifting has signed on as being the title sponsor for the event, so we thank them very much. Also, we have, by default, of course, Lifting Ugly, Industry Strength Gym. We have Skull Smash Ammonia that's going to be sending some prizes out for us. Iron Ink, which is going to be providing the printing of t-shirts and whatnot. And Insane Lab will also be sending some goodies for us to be doing giveaways for the people competing. So make sure, if you are anywhere near the Grand Junction area on May the 4th, either be a part of in lifting or, whatever, just come be a part of Bar Wars. We appreciate it.
Even if you're not close to Grand Junction, make the flight out.
Make the flight, make the drive. Yes. Put in some effort to help. So speaking of the title sponsor for Bar Wars, make sure you go to generalleathercraft.com, visit our friends at Pioneer, where you can get the coolest belts. Julia, how cool is your belt?
My belt is so cool. I love my belt so much.
Let's see. I happen to have your
You
belt.
do
right
have
here.
my belt. It's the best belt ever. I love my Pioneer lifting belt.
So Julia's belt, let's see if I can.
Yeah.
She's got.
Bring it forward a
If I
little
get-
bit. It's blending into the background.
Quit. And there.
There.
You got the bird there.
Yeah.
All right. She's got the custom engraving with Jaybird
Yeah.
on the inside. My wife has we got my wife a belt. She loves her belt. Her belt is, she just wanted plain, so it's nice and plain. And then of course the one that I've had for a few years now that still looks and acts just fantastic. So make sure you go to generalleathercraft.com. You can pick out all kinds of different belts, lever belts, single prong, double prong, pioneer cut, wrist straps, knee sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if
Dog
you want
collars,
it,
wallets.
yeah, dog collars for your dog or for yourself. It's,
Yeah.
we're not here to judge.
We won't
well as
yuck
General
someone's
Leather
yum.
That's we'll go with that. I'm not sure exactly what that means. I think I can figure that out. All right. While you're at it, make sure on Instagram you follow Julia here at Julia R. Bird. You can follow any of the Lifting Ugly pages. Just search Lifting Ugly, lifting_ugly on Instagram. All streaming platforms, Lifting Ugly, liftingugly.com for all the gear. Patreon if you want to support, /Lifting Ugly. Now, let's get on to the important thing. Our guest is here today. Very happy to have him. Speaking of our event and everything we got coming up, we have Matt. Thanks for joining us, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
Anyone who does not know, who is just, I don't know, has their head in the sand, Matt is with Pioneer. Pioneer, I don't know how to, so General Leathercraft is the parent company, correct?
That's correct.
And then, so is it Pioneer Lifting, Pioneer Powerlifting?
We really just go under Pioneer. Pioneer Powerlifting is kind of what we've just known for, just because we're in the powerlifting space more than we are in any other space. So, but just Pioneer is the brand name under General Leathercraft.
All right. So Matt is Mr. Pioneer. Might as well, we'll just call you Matt Pioneer.
Not Pioneer.
All right. So one question I have is, how nice is it to not have to answer questions about knee sleeves anymore?
It's nice. I mean, so it was like 7 years that I've been fooling with trying to find manufacturers, trying to find material, trying to find machines to make them in-house. All of that fell away, and we ended up finding a manufacturer. But it was a long road, and I'm glad that we were able to find the supplier we had and the material we have, and finally brought them to market for just a long road.
Right, as are the rest of us. I got a pair back in, I think, July, maybe early August.
Yeah.
And like, I thought my knee sleeves were okay before, and then once I finally figured out how to get those knee sleeves on, like, they made a world of difference. Like, coming from someone who has, like, I have severe, like, my knees are bad, like arthritic bad, and they've made it 10 times easier to get through my squats, and then the pain afterwards is a lot less. So I tell everyone, I tell everyone to go get all your stuff. I have the wrist wraps that are super stiff and nice.
They're so
of
nice.
course, the belt. And then we're gearing Julia up with all that stuff as well. Julia's my daughter that is doing the podcast with me now. Julia's new in the powerlifting game as of June of last year. And so I'm making sure I set her up right. And as she moves along, she's going to be almost head to toe Pioneer.
Yes.
With all support material.
Welcome to powerlifting, Julia.
Thank you.
And then we also want to welcome you to powerlifting, where you've done the gear that the powerlifters have loved for quite a few years now. I've noticed that the last little while you yourself have started more of a powerlifting program.
Yeah, so my back feels better. You know, I had back surgery about 6 years ago, and I honestly mentally was not. I don't think I was prepared to try and lift heavy. I thought I was just going to be just try to stay active for the children, stay healthy, that type deal, so I could play basketball with them, throw the football with them, that kind of deal. But now that my back feels good, I'm going to keep pushing. I mean, I don't know where it's going to go. It probably won't go very far, but we're going to go as far as my body will let me.
That's all you can do. I mean, that was my goal. I was like, well, first I was going to compete, and I was like, well, my body's kind of broken. It's not doing what I want it to do. So I'll just do it I'll do what I can and then support the community in every other way I can. And then all of a sudden things just kind of clicked for a little bit for me. And I was able to put some numbers up in November, which was nice. And still my main focus is helping put on meets, being a part of them, and promoting and helping other people, be a part of what is really one of the best communities I've ever been a part of.
Oh, no doubt.
Bar none. Everybody in powerlifting seems to be nice and down to earth. So kudos to everybody in powerlifting.
Yeah. Right. So let's get a quick background. We had you on a couple years ago. So for anyone else who maybe hasn't, we don't want to send them back to check out that episode. Quick rundown. How did Pioneer develop?
My grandfather started Pioneer late 70s, 1979 in Sidney, Nebraska. He would travel around to all of the little small towns in western Nebraska, eastern Wyoming, northern Colorado, trying to sell to schools and the little sporting goods stores in each of those communities. And it kind of morphed in the 80s when my parents took it over. They morphed into a full manufacturing facility down in El Paso. When I was a baby, my parents moved me to El Paso, and then we stayed there for about 10 years where our manufacturing was. It morphed into kind of where we are. Who we were before anybody knew us was a third-party manufacturer where we made belts and other products for other companies. We labeled them on those other brands. So nobody really knew who General Leathercraft was. They were just the behind-the-scenes guys making belts for Bigger, Faster, Stronger, and BSN, and Cat Barbell, and some of the other bigger retailers in the space. And then fast forward to 2013, I came back from Dallas-Fort Worth, went over there, went through PGA school, and went into a golf career. When I took it over, it was April of 2013. I came back, tried to learn everything. The first thing that we did was we got into the retail space. We got a website. We tried to build a brand. The Pioneer brand was around in the 70s, was around in the 80s, but it just kind of fell apart because we weren't ever really selling direct to consumer. We were just doing other people's brands. So when I came back, that was my first and foremost thing that I wanted to do, was try and promote the Pioneer brand. We got, like I said, got the website, got Instagram and all of the other social medias. And then finally kind of got some traction when we started doing some custom work. There wasn't very many American-made custom belt manufacturers. Really, I think Cardillo was the only one. Was not very big in the powerlifting space. Was way, they had a stronghold in the bodybuilding world, but
Right.
They were about the only ones making custom stuff until we kind of showed up. And that little bit of custom work that we did 10 years ago has morphed into quite a bit of custom work that we do now.
So what percentage of the belts that you produce are custom versus just what you put out for the masses?
So honestly, stock belts, which are not customized, have overtaken the custom work, just because I think honestly at this point, you've got a little bit of a less expensive option. You have fast shipping. You still have the same quality, still the same warranty, still the same materials and build processes. So I think all of those coupled in, like most people go that route. So I would say like our stock belts and all retail sales, our stock belts are probably 50% of our entire retail sales. Custom belts is probably in that 35 to 40%. And then your apparel and all of your other stuff is in that 10% wrist wraps, that kind of thing. So stock belts dwarf pretty much custom belts, and then custom belts dwarf apparel, wallets, dog collars, that kind of stuff.
So did you guys choose to gear towards the powerlifting market, or did it just kind of work out that way?
I think it kind of just worked out that way. When I first started, again, we were just making a lot of the products that we made were basic single thick tapered training belts that you would see. Like we would do them for Gold's Gym, and we would do them for, like I said, some of these other bigger companies. And then if I remember right, Elite FTS was one of our customers when I first came. They were a new customer of ours when we first came. So we were doing 13 millimeter power belts for those guys and 13 millimeter lever belts for those guys. They were getting super rave reviews. They were probably the only, at the time, they were the only 13 millimeter true leather belt on the market. Mm-hmm. And I think that was a big eye opener. And I think a lot of this real serious big name or big powerlifter guys would be using those because they were just stiffer than everything else, even the Inzer belts. So they got rave reviews, and I kind of started thinking, I was like, man, these guys, you know, Elite's still a customer of ours. Dave Tate, those guys are all amazing. But I was like, those guys are getting super well known for these belts that we're making. Why don't we try to, put one out there from the Pioneer brand? And then, I think I reached out to a whole bunch of people, and most of the time the powerlifters were the ones that were receptive to trying out a new product. We're trying out, doing reviews, that kind of thing. So one of the first biggest guys that we reached out to is Kevin Oakley, Oak Strong, who was at the time an up and up. I think he had just broke maybe a 198 or maybe it was the 220 squat record. And then I think he ended up breaking it several times, the 242 squat record, I believe, as well. And he kind of got us in contact with Larry Williams and Larry Wheels before he got to, the heights that he's at now, Mike Rashid and CT Fletcher and all. It just kind of all morphed in really thanks to Kevin's ability or, reception of working with us and trying to develop products and customizations and stuff.
So have you guys been kind of accepted into the bodybuilding world as well? Or is it, I mean, I know the majority is powerlifting, but do you do much with bodybuilding?
So we do. There's a couple of promoters that, that they'll use us for their bodybuilding, the winners, the shows. So, overall physique, overall, classic physique, all of those things. Like the trophies are Pioneer belts, custom Pioneer belts. So I think that probably helps a little bit over the past few years. We are still very much known for the powerlifting side. Bodybuilding is probably bigger than powerlifting, I think, in sheer numbers. But I mean, 9 out of 10 times we're making a powerlifting belt. And then I don't know who they're going to. I don't know if the bodybuilders are using powerlifting belts. I assume some of them are. So
the good ones are, because the good ones are still going to be trying to put up some numbers.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think I think we have acceptance in the bodybuilding world, but I don't think we have a stronghold in the bodybuilding world.
And so you came on and you said 13 is when you started back with the business.
Mm-hmm.
And so before then, you guys didn't even have a website at that point. Is that what you were saying?
Correct. Yeah,
we were taking orders through fax machines, and I had to tell my parents, I was like, I don't even know how to run a fax machine. You guys gotta we gotta get with the times here. It was very much, they were operating, on a Timex watch in a digital world. They didn't really know, they did a great job from all the way through the 80s through the 2000s. And then once, the internet kind of came hold and social media came around, my parents they're 65. So they were, in their 50s at the time. They didn't want to jump into social media. They didn't want to do all of the things. We only had 7 employees or so. When I first came back, we had 6 employees, I think, and we're up in the 30 range now. So it's been a crazy growth. But yeah, prior to me being there, we were very, very small.
And so anyone who doesn't, make sure you go follow is on Instagram at Pioneer_fit. You guys don't just release, hey, here's a belt. You do have a decent amount of content. You do a lot of question answer stuff on there, which a lot of it I find really entertaining.
It is so entertaining.
And we talked about the knee sleeves. That used to be brought up every time you did a question answer. I think like 5 times during question and answer, at least you would get that question about you, probably more that you didn't even post. But now you've kind of opened a new box here. I noticed the last couple of days with the elbow sleeves. So is that going to be our new knee sleeve?
We're gonna roll with elbow sleeves. It's gonna take some time to prototype and to R&D and to make sure that we're able to put something out that's better than everybody else's. That's kind of, I don't want to put it out there if it's the same as everybody else's, because it's just not. I mean, there's no reason to just flood the market with all the same things. So if we can do the R&D and we can find material and we can find, I think our knee sleeve manufacturer is going to be capable of being able to do some of the things that we want to do with them. So I'm excited. I don't want to put a timeline out there because it's like you said. I mean, next time I do a Q&A, there's going to be 30 of them. When are we going to have the elbow sleeves? So
I did answer your question on your Instagram post about what the design of them. So I did, because I like reading through people's comments just because I get entertained by, will be nice by things people say. So a lot of people wanted the ease of putting them on, and pretty much if you have a quality sleeve that's going over your knee or elbow,
it's not going to be
easy.
No, that's
so.
I mean, convenience and comfort is something that humans just seek. Being uncomfortable, even if it's going to help them, it's uncomfortable. It kind of trumps everything. So we're going to try and figure out a way to do it all. I mean, those two things being easy, comfortable to get on and off. I'm not sure that we're going to be able to handle tackling that issue particularly.
Right. You got to keep the quality. You got to keep the quality and the function of what it's for. At a point. And I mean, I said on the knee sleeves, I fold those down and I just grab underneath and pull them up, and I probably rip out a handful of leg hair every time I do it.
Yeah,
you got to make sacrifices for what you want, right?
No, those knee sleeves are aggressive. There's no doubt. The one thing that's been able to help me, which I posted, I'm sure you guys probably already know it, is the lifting strap. The lifting strap trick. It's about the only way I can get them up.
Yeah.
Off is a different animal. That's just just inch them down.
Yeah. Once you get a little bit sweaty, you're already exhausted from squatting and whatever else you're wearing those things from. And crank those suckers off it's a fun experience. That's for sure.
No doubt.
So Julie, do you have any questions? Did you come up with anything?
Well, you stole all my questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have asked you earlier.
Yeah, you stole all my questions.
Well, I'm sorry I stole your questions. So, all right. Well, then I have other. So you're the other stuff you have, because obviously you guys are known for your belts, but as we like to point out, because it's like, oh yeah, Pioneer's got all this powerlifting stuff, and then you go to the website and it's like, and they also have dog collars.
They have so much more.
And it's just it's a big obscure, like a switch. But I mean, you guys have so many things. You do have the dog collars, which are really cool because they kind of look like weight belts. But in one thing I am planning on getting, as soon as I don't buy wallets very often, but you guys have some like really quality looking
so
wallets.
Nice.
They're good.
And that's not just a biased opinion. Like I had a wallet from the time I graduated high school. It was a graduation gift from my oldest sister, I think. And I had it until I was about 25 or so, actually, when I moved back to Coleman. And that style wallet is the one that we imitated. And it just works really well. It's kind of a minimalist wallet. It's got, I don't normally carry, and I have to assume that at least some people don't normally carry a bunch of cash. So I'm mostly card. If I have cash, it's because maybe I don't know, somebody, gave us a tip or paid in cash if they came into the shop or whatever. But it's not really great for cash just because it is a money clip instead of like a billfold. But man, they just last forever. It's such a simple, easy design that I'm a big fan of our wallets. I'm also a big fan our normal daily dress belts, especially the Water Buffalo stock belts that we make. I've worn mine for 11 years and it's still like perfect. So I know, for $40, I think is what those things are on. I would go through belts like crazy. The ones I'd buy from Tractor Supply or Walmart or some other big box store, right. $40, $60, $80, and they would just tear. They were nice when they were new, but just build quality materials of all of the name brand stuff just really isn't very good. Not to, talk down on them. It's just, there's usually 3 or 4 different little pieces of leather. They've got a really nice outside so that it looks pretty, but the rest of it is just kind of as cheap as possible. And
well, it seems like half of them have like a plastic insert running through the middle of them even.
Yeah.
So when that snaps.
Yeah, it really is. It's kind of, it's unfortunate because a regular good leather belt is one piece of leather. Like there's nothing that can go wrong with it. So they last forever too. So shameless plug. I think our daily dress belts and daily work belts or daily gun belts, whichever one, I think they're all top notch.
Well, I'll have to put that on my list of purchases from you guys coming up as well. I have a couple t-shirts that you guys have sent me, which is actually, I have one t-shirt that you guys have sent me. Every half inch matters, that I love wearing. I love wearing that one everywhere. I just like watching the double takes.
I love that shirt.
When people read.
Conversation starter.
Right. And then it's the conversation is always a good one from there on out. And then for anyone who doesn't know that what it's in reference to, every half inch matters. While it does work in every aspect of life, that every half inch does matter that you put in. Your Pioneer cut is you're the guys are the only ones that do that, like offsetting holes every half inch.
Yeah, so we were
to get a more customized fit.
Yeah, we were granted patent protection like 4 years ago now on the Pioneer cut. And that's kind of what morphed into the PAL lever. We just kept that every half inch matters because, I mean, it does. And it's not just a sexual innuendo or any other way of saying it, but it really does. So it takes if you're every other belt, even still to this day, outside of the PAL, outside of the Pioneer cut, is set at 1 inch spacings. And it's typical because leather, if you start punching holes super close to each other, the stress that's on those holes from the prongs or even on the levers, they have a tendency to rip through because leather will stretch small amount, but it's still enough. So if you put holes too close to each other, those holes will rip through to the next the next hole. So the Pioneer cut, obviously with the staggered hole designs, there's still the holes in the inline holes are still spread out 1 inch, but then you can move down and those inline holes are spread out 1 inch. But the way it works is every half inch increments. So I didn't think we would get patent protection. I kind of figured, that, man, that's a aha moment. Surely somebody's thought of this in the last 100 years of belt making. And it just happened to be that they didn't. And Steve Strom, the guy that helped me come up with the idea, actually came up with the idea and came to us with it, has been a godsend. He's been an amazing person to work with. He brought that innovation to the market where until then has been pretty stale with innovation. Now, since then, you got the SBD buckle, you've got, the PAL buckle. I think maybe Titan came out with it's not a half inch adjustable, but maybe like a screwdriverless buckle. So there's been some good innovation since the Pioneer cut. I don't know. I'm not going to say that we were the forefront and that's what kind of drove the innovation, but I do know when something new happens, people always try to keep up and always try to come up with something else new. So it's been nice over the last 6 years to see some other new cool stuff happen in the space.
Well, I'll go ahead and say you guys propelled the innovation behind all the new lifting belts that are out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without what you guys have done, like somebody may have done it, but like you said, until you addressed a problem that nobody really decided was there, no one was thinking of it. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, well, if they adjusted a lever and that makes a huge amount of difference, what can we do? I mean, it's a belt. How many things can you do is probably most people's thought.
I'm fairly certain we kept getting questions, and Steve would see these, I guess, via the AMAs or some posts on Instagram, and it would typically be females be like, hey, when I'm, when it's that time of the month, I would bloat it, and I'm always in between holes, and one hole's too tight, and the other hole's too loose, and that was kind of the thing that drove. Like there was just question after question. It was like, man, I can't get my belt tight enough or the right tightness. I could never feel like it's the right tightness. And, that little bit in the Pioneer Cut when it first came out, I thought everybody was like, man, they're going to think this is gimmicky. They're going to not think this is real. And boy, was I wrong, because when it came out, everybody was super, super into the idea behind it. And then I think they started to realize, like, oh, it actually makes a difference. It's like one of those things you didn't know you needed until you got, and you're like, crap, where has this been forever?
It's so nice.
I did not even just, I get why women would have the question more often, but you eat a heavy lunch and go to lift.
Coke or something.
You need that
loaded.
half inch. Yeah, you need that half inch back.
Yeah, no doubt.
You need
No
6 donuts before your lift. And
So I don't know if you remember last time we do white lights, red lights. We're going to do it a little bit different this time. Things that really have nothing to do with lift. Well, these have zero to do with lifting at all.
I think it does.
Well, I went a different direction than what you suggested. I'm going to say, sorry. Julia suggested shoe brands, and then I kind of had a different thought as I was going through this morning, and so I kind of switched gears. So it's a versus. So one versus another. Winner gets 3 whites. The loser doesn't necessarily have to get 3 reds, but definitely a non-passing score. So we're gonna do an animal one. So basically, the first one to me is a pretty easy, kind of comparison. So dogs versus cats.
3 whites
for dogs. 2 reds for cats. I don't hate cats, but dogs.
Right.
Dogs, hands down winner.
Oh yeah, absolutely dogs.
And Julia you guys have 2 cats?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, they're terrible.
So they're so they're not I'm not like a 3 red light. I'm saying, like, they're not my preferred, but if there's a cat around, I'm not going to kick it.
But you're not going to go out of your way I might shoo it away if it's on me. Honestly, I'm allergic to cats too, so there's probably another half a red light there. That's
I actually have she's passed out by the door here at the gym, but I have my dog Max over here.
Max.
She's hanging out with me today at the podcast, and so
my little
go ahead.
Yeah, my little yellow lab she's probably a week and a half from having puppies, and we think she's going to have anywhere between 8 and 10 puppies. So we have lots of dogs.
So does your dog come to work?
No,
not typically. We do have a little dog that does come to work. It was ours. We ended up giving her to one of our employees, Pam. His name is Cooper, and he's like a little Shih Tzu. We call him the head of security because he barks at everybody when they come in, and he's kind of our shop mascot.
Nice. Yeah, Max roams the gym when she's with me, so she's the token gym dog. Likes to greet everyone, especially if they're doing floor work. She likes to stand right over the top of them.
It's the best thing, having a dog's stomach right on top of you.
Dogs are pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So next one, penguins versus pandas.
I think pandas
got to win this one. Three whites for pandas, just because I don't know. I guess they're so rare, and I think they're kind of dopey and they're cute.
Right.
Penguins, honestly, penguins kind of freak me out. Like, they can't fly; they just waddle around, but they're super good swimmers. Which, 2 reds for penguins, 3 whites for pandas.
I gotta go.
Where are you going?
I gotta go penguins because pandas have chlamydia.
Okay, I didn't know that.
But
you can't touch pandas anymore.
I thought that was koalas.
Oh, yep. Never mind.
Koalas have chlamydia.
That's right.
Yeah, koalas eat eucalyptus, get high, and have chlamydia.
Yes, that's right. I still go penguins. I love penguins.
Okay, still going penguins. I like half of my Instagram reel when I go through is
Pandas.
pandas doing weird stuff at a zoo, just rolling around, falling out of trees.
Yeah, I saw.
There was a voiceover of this panda doing these like somersaults earlier. I saw it literally yesterday, and it was super funny. And so that's why pandas are on my brain. You know, if this would have happened 2 days ago, it may have been penguins. I don't have anything wrong. I don't have anything against penguins.
All right, and then the last we'll do a winners, dogs versus pandas. Then
Dogs.
Dogs are my favorite. They're my jam. We have. I've been around hunting dogs my whole life. I see how hard they work, how well they behave, how smart they are. Dogs over everything.
you have a bad day, like they're never, like they're always just there, always there for you.
Yeah, and it is. You know, sometimes they'll chew something up, sometimes they'll poop on the floor, that kind of stuff. But for the most part, dogs. I like. If I feel like if I had a pet panda, I'd have way more problems than I would with my 2 labs.
Oh yeah.
Dogs may cause problems every now and again, but they're still not as destructive as children.
Oh gosh,
We accepted a couple of foster kids. We have 2 foster kids and our 4 boys.
Wow.
So we've got a 3-week-old, a 3-year-old, both girls, and then we have obviously my 2 9-year-olds, a 6-year-old, and a 4-year-old. So I can fully attest that my dogs on their worst day are better than my kids on their best day.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, like I said, we're keeping these episodes a little shorter than we did last time. Matt, we appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much.
And can't thank you enough for your guys' help and sponsorship with the Bar Wars that's coming up on May the 4th. It's gonna help put on a good event. We're hoping to get some space at the university here that we can use some of their a spot there to kind of help with a nice event. And so that's kind of our goal. The space we're going to use. We're using equipment here from the gym. And so all those, just without people helping out, whether it's, prizes or whatever, it just makes it better. That way the lifters can get some more enjoyment. They get something back for all the, I mean, it's hard work. It's not easy.
Really hard work.
And so to be able to have them feel like they get some appreciation from the people putting it on and the sponsors, I think it makes a huge difference. And that's part of what makes powerlifting as great as it is.
just happy to help.
It's just reciprocation anyways. You guys and those lifters, I'm sure, have all patronized Pioneer. It's just the way that it should work. So I hope you guys have an awesome event.
Believe me, if we see someone around here who's not rocking a Pioneer belt, they get knocked down a couple pegs. It's unacceptable here. It's got to be Pioneer. I moved a couple people to Pioneer wrist straps because they were bitching about theirs breaking down. I was like, you're going to the wrong place. And they're like, yeah, but I went there. They're like, they're not that expensive. And I was like, okay, what's the problem? They bought them and they're like, man, I paid twice as much for these other wraps. They busted in 3 months. Like, these are amazing. I was like, I told you.
It's going to be
starting to really become my personal vendetta in the powerlifting space right now, is that there are people that are buying the cheapest products and selling them at the premium price. Mm-hmm. And they're not getting a premium product, and they're presenting it as premium products, and it's starting to bug me. So I don't know what I'm going to do there, but I made a post yesterday about a belt that is supposed to be one of the best, and man, when I cut it open, I think people are going to realize that they're just being bamboozled by advertising jargon.
Well, I think you guys are doing everything. You guys are doing it. You're making the belts that are the quality they need to be. The knee sleeves are, next level as far as I'm concerned. Wrist straps. Everything that I've gotten from you guys is top quality. I've had zero complaints of any of it, and all I do is push your product, regardless of if you guys were sponsoring the event or doing any of that. Good product is good product, and it's hard to come by anymore. And so we appreciate that, and I always want people to be satisfied with the money they spend, really.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt.
And I appreciate that.
So everyone out there, make sure you go follow their Instagram page at pioneer_fit. Website is showing up here, generalleathercraft.com. Make sure you go just check out all the different stuff that they have. Like we've talked about, wallets, dog collars, belts, all kinds of, every kind of belt, lifting belt, dress belt, work belt. You said that you guys have gun belts even. You guys carry it all. If you're a golfer, you guys have golf head covers even.
Yep.
You guys are just full service leather crafters. So make sure you guys go check them out. Again, Matt, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch soon as the event keeps going on and anything else that we have coming up.
I appreciate you
But
guys.
thank you for being here. Yep. Thanks
Thank you.
everyone for watching, listening, and however it may be. And we'll see you guys all next time.
Yeah.